Someone messaged me last night on one of my videos. I left a premium account on X is required to create live broadcast. Oh, so you need a premium account anyway. So let's just remove that. Remove this.
We are live.
Cool. Good. Right, we can't go live with your account, unfortunately. So, you're a commoner. You are not paying for Twitter.
I am.
Oh, it says you need a premium account, and
I have the low tier.
So do I. That's weird. Maybe it's the pro. Maybe we need a different tier of StreamYard. Maybe we need, we just need a higher tier. Maybe it was StreamYard. I didn't read properly. Right, are we live on Twitter? Are we live on YouTube? Just double checking. Okay. Yeah, looks like we're live on YouTube. We are on a new location, and I've tried. This is going to be probably a bit of a rough time, because I've messaged people on my personal YouTube. You may or may not have known it was going out on my personal YouTube to utilize the following we already have. But we have moved. If you are on Twitter, please, this time, I know I say it every week, but if you come over to YouTube, just subscribe and then go back to Twitter, just so we know we're making some headway with some subscribers, but it's going to be a rough old time building up the what do you call it? But the good news is you don't get ads, so because we're not monetized yet.
Yeah.
I don't know. Someone left a comment on one of the videos say you should introduce yourselves next time, and I don't know whether they were meant that we should introduce ourselves like at the beginning of every episode, or like I don't really understand their comment. Like what you, because I don't think that's normal, is it? To like just go, hey, my name's Sam.
Yeah. I think people don't care about it, and even like in my videos, I see where even if I slightly talk about myself, and I don't want to talk about myself just for the sake of it, I want to give some context, like who the hell is talking about this topic, just to give some context. It drops, like the view drops. People just don't.
People are fickle.
Yeah, they just like press next, or they skip like the 10 seconds I talk about myself. So no, we are not gonna introduce ourselves.
I don't think that's not normal, is it? I think they might have thought it was just like a one-off video, or like that's the normal format, which is just a video, but it's not. It's a stream. But anyway, tell you what, we're going to also have to we're a little bit behind on this episode, as you can probably tell, but we're also going to have to freestyle the topics, which we've only got a few this week, so it's not too bad. But also, are you ready for this intro? Are you feeling like you can just wing it?
No, I have no.
Do you want to do your bit, and then I'll just take over for the.
I don't know. Like you can go about it, and then I say the last bit, which is the last one that we have on our list. It's the only one that I know about.
No, I'm talking about you introducing yourself. The extent in which we introduce ourselves. And like I'm Kabaza.
Yeah.
You do that bit, and then I'll jump back in and do the lists, and then you can.
Yeah. Sure. And I have it in front of me. I just opened it. So
yeah, but you got to make eye contact with the audience, Right. Okay. Let's stop waffling. Let's start doing this. Let me just get into character.
Yeah.
Welcome to Command AI, where we press Command F on the weekly. No, I fucked it up. I'm going to do it again.
Yeah.
Where we press Command F on the internet's AI news and some. Okay. I'm going to totally fuck this up, dude. Welcome to Command AI, where we press Command F on the AI internet news and somehow still can't find our sanity. My name's Samuel Gregory.
Okay, and I'm Kabarzan. We are here to decode the chaos in AI, web design, and development.
This week, we have TreeQuest, which I think will be very important when we get to the last announcement, but it's an interesting new way to basically get more out of our singular AI systems. We've got the topic of context engineering. So if you're into that, then I'm going to riff off of that topic because I'm exploring it recently. Perplexity have decided to release a new browser called Comet, which I think has replaced Dia. I don't know. Not quite. It's quite expensive. And then finally,
we have Grok 4 announced, the best model. I could not see this day coming.
You hear that? It's the best model. No question.
It's insane.
The most intelligent.
I didn't think that Elon Musk actually can pull it off because he's just so busy with so many things. He's doing decent job at everything. Well, mean, with SpaceX, they are crashing it, but
is he? I'm not too sure.
I don't know. Like the promises that he makes are big, right? He makes like crazy promises. But if you strip away, what he has done from his promises and also from his political takes, he's been doing pretty good, right? And when it comes to now AI, it felt like he started XAI just to have a beef with Sam Altman, just to stick it up to him. But now they're actually beating everybody else in the space in everything. So
he's got the money. He just bought his way into it. But we'll get into all that on this week's
we'll talk about it. Yeah.
Cool. So to bookend this bad boy, we're getting quite lucky with this recently. So I don't know that you remember Sakana or whatever they're called. But they were one of the first people or one of the first companies to introduce the idea of self-learning AIs. I think they were the first. I think it was called something, or I don't know. But they've introduced something called TreeQuest, which is more important than you think, and it's become very, very relevant. It's an open source technique, I believe. And it enables multiple artificial intelligence models to work together on complex problems. Now, this is very different from agents, which I think you summarized beautifully a couple of weeks ago, when agents just do things, right? Agents aren't necessarily working together. They're not, chucking ideas back and forth. They are just doing these tasks one at a time. They're just being scheduled. It's a complex way of scheduling an AI agent or an AI. Whereas this is multiple agents coming together and asking each other questions and sort of formalizing their answer together. And it's using something called, where is it now? It's called inference time scaling. Blah, blah, blah. Where's inference? Here we go. Inference time scaling to coordinate multiple frontier models during problem solving. So I'm not sure how whether you're joining the dots here a little bit, but you've got this a technique called adaptive branch Monte Carlo tree search, right? The AB, where is it? AB.
That's a crazy. Here we go. Yeah.
Can
you say that again?
The adaptive branching Monte Carlo tree search, an algorithm that allows AI systems to perform trial and error reasoning while deciding which model should handle each step. So they're just like little ants working away, Okay. And in testing, they did the ARC AGI2 benchmark, a combination of OpenAI's O4, Gemini's 2.5 Pro, and DeepSeek's R1 models solved over 30% of problems compared to 23% for O4 Mini just working alone. So it's kind of that extra juice. It gives these models that extra juice. And what I think is really interesting is that, where did I see this now? It basically, you can use different models together. If this, and because this is open source, you're going to need to do that, because no way in hell are OpenAI going to be like, hey, we've got the tree search or TreeQuest technique going, and you can pull in Gemini and you can pull in Grok and this, that, and the other. So no way they're going to allow that. But if you just so happen to get the open source version working, you could probably play around with multiple models working together, which is really, really interesting. Yeah, so TreeQuest, a flexible, where's the API thing that I saw? There's an API, basically just saying what I was just saying. I just wanted to highlight it. Here we go. It features a flexible API that allows developers to implement custom scoring generation logic with checkpoint capabilities for long-running tasks. The framework supports both single model and multi-model deployments, making it accessible to organizations with varying technical requirements, which is just really cool. And they acclaim the approach's potential to reduce hallucinations. So really groundbreaking stuff. And I thought that the whole self-learning mechanism was kind of the singularity, but this is a whole new paradigm altogether. That they're actually working together and deciding amongst themselves which is the right approach. And it's proving. So I don't want to get ahead of myself, but are you joining the dots here? Are you? How much research have you done with Grok for?
I don't know, honestly.
We'll get to it. We'll get to it. But really, really interesting. And what this means is, I think it's going to be, I don't want to ruin the surprise, but Grok showed you, this is Grok heavy. This is super Grok heavy.
In a way, yes. Yeah.
Where and you see it in their graphs, and we'll get to them. They do the long horizon thing, and you see the boost that it gets. So Grok on its own is fine, and then you've got the time context window or something they call it. Then you get that boost, and this is exactly what this is. So what that tells me is that Grok are not going to be the first people to implement this, and we're going to see this because it's open source. Why wouldn't other models do this by getting that extra thing and then getting that extra buck, because we know the price of Grok? We're going to start to see a new tier of our AI chatbots that offer this agent, working together, TreeQuest functionality. I love that TreeQuest because they're all branching off and doing their thing. It's cool.
Yeah. Something that let me just actually maybe just add this here. I wasn't sure. Okay, let me just do it. So I know.
Does that make sense, by the way? I'm thinking about the edit, by the way. I'm thinking about that. Does that make sense? Do you follow that? Or is that just a lot of information?
Yeah, so what I'm gonna show is something that is kind of, it's not related actually. It's a different way. It's another tool called Roundtable. Should I just share it and explain?
Go for it.
In the edit, if it's not related, then we take it out.
I want to do it that we don't have to stop because it's going to do my screen share now, isn't it? That's the problem.
Yeah. So you continue.
But if I remove, then that's just going to mess with the edit a little bit. So let's just kick this into gear. Cool. What's going on here? Do you want to zoom in a bit?
Yeah. On the wrong window. Let me zoom in here.
Oh, I love that. I love dark green like this. I love it's like Perplexity's brand.
All right. So we have this new tool in the town. No. Yeah. Whatever. So we have this new tool in town. It's called roundtable.now. And it's essentially just a bunch of different AIs around the table discussing something together. So I just signed up literally right now, and I asked, is there such a thing as objective morality? So the idea is that each GPT, each AI tunes in and they talk about, what you ask. And the idea is that they discuss this like between each other, and then they should come to a conclusion. So here I'm saying like conclude, and then we see each essentially chatbot trying to come to a conclusion, and they see each other's responses. So that's also kind of cool to see, to ask the same question actually, but in one place, and then you get your answers from all these different chats. And the point is that they also see the answers from each other, so they can actually continue talking about it until they reach, I don't know, conclusion. Or you could tell them disagree with each other. So I don't know, you'd probably see them fight over what's true. burn a bunch of trees just to see some AI chatbots fight with each other. That's the goal.
Bloody Europeans and your burning of trees.
Yeah, and yeah, this is funny because this is also going to be pretty expensive, I guess.
And what I'm seeing there, you've got GPT-4o search. If you scroll down, you've got DeepSeek.
Yeah,
that's up, but yeah, DeepSeek, and then Gemini 2.5. So are these models? Are they different models working together one by one, passing the buck?
Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
And I don't want to get too sidetracked, but how much was this? You just bought this, or is it free?
It's on the free tier, and
on the free tier.
I believe they actually have
$60. 60
yeah.
buckaroos. Quite expensive. So
I have 5 models right now.
Lovely.
But like if you pay unlimited, you get 20 models at once, and
is
then
that 1,000 a month or 1,000 a year?
A month.
I mean, you know, this is all starting to come into place. So here's my take on it, right? First of all, is this open source or is this closed source?
No, this is like a very new tool that I found yesterday.
Okay, fine. So yeah, well, it'd be interesting to know if it's open source. The other thing, I think it's going to achieve the same thing, but it's just done in a different way. So the differentiator comes down to it, whether it's open source or not, because they're going to keep their own, you know, Roundtable are going to hold their own, try and keep their, what do you call it, the subscribers. They're going to want to try and earn from subscribers, whereas TreeQuest is sort of open source, and that means Gemini and OpenAI and all the rest of it are going to adopt that and make it their own sort of thing. So there's an incentive there just to keep it internal. Whether it's using tree search or TreeQuest, I don't know. It'd be interesting to know, but it's probably the same result, just maybe achieved in a slight different way. So, but it's but yeah, and you can see the impact on price as well, what this does.
Yeah.
You know, really
I believe this does the entire thing much different from what you showed, but the results might be very similar. But the way they are doing it is very different.
Are there any benchmarks on this?
No, I don't think so. This is literally just taking the APIs from different chatbots and just putting them together. Yeah.
So I could add this to Jupyter Chat sort of thing. It's just a very expensive way to do it, because you're just adding, you know, more context exponentially, right?
Exponentially, because for each one, if you want them to see each other, you'd have a tons of like input and output just running in the background.
Yeah. No, it's really cool. It's really cool that we're still seeing a few little advancements here or there. And I would love to see some sort of benchmark or some sort of like what the result is of what you've just shown as well. But probably the same sort of result. I'm just really keen to see what the open source nature of TreeQuest brings to the other models, because again, to ruin the surprise, Grok seem to have already implemented it, because this was released probably Monday, you know. They announced it on Monday. So cool, really exciting. So this is the part where I was going to riff off of context engineering. Have you heard about context engineering at all?
No.
And in fact, I commented on someone on LinkedIn just now, because they put a post out on LinkedIn saying that it's proven that AI assisted coding is actually slowing developers down. Now, this is from research paper. Maybe I can get it up while we chat. Some sort of research paper. And I responded to that, because of course I would, and said, you know, it would be interesting to see what methodology those developers employed to say they're doing AI assisted development, because, you know, like a lot of people, myself included, when I approached AI assisted development, I kind of went in thinking, right, how can it help me write code? And was getting some help. Copilot is great. actually what it's kind of difficult now because Copilot means so many different things, but like
Yeah.
auto completion was great. It's a great little start because it's helping me write code. But as we start to get into the more agentic stuff, we needed a new approach to write code using AI. And I'm just looking now. Traditional coding practices don't cut it. Cut it what way? Speed. Basically, yeah, I'm just reading the message there. Maybe I'll share that later. But like, we needed new methodologies in order to utilize AI to write code. And then we kind of got into what I've been talking about and trying to understand, which is like the taskmaster stuff, where you create your product requirements document, you develop a list of tasks based on that, which is still very, very relevant. But what it lacked was a lot of what came about later on, which is this idea of memories, and you've got the Gemini files, and you've got the Claude files, and now the Replit files, and these files that you pepper throughout your code base to sort of give it context as to what it's working on and what it should do and how it should format things. So you're constructing a network of rules that can help the AI write code.
Yeah.
And I've been experimenting with it. And then this idea of context engineering is coming into play, which is, it is a library that you can download on GitHub and just start. But all it basically is a bunch of files that tell the AI how to format stuff. But as long as you reference that file, you don't need a library or anything like that. You just need a bunch of files that you can reference to say, implement this task, implement this feature using these rules, and this rule set will say how to format things and blah blah blah. Okay. And this is how I understand context engineering. You're also giving it documentation that it should search as well, especially because LLMs are so behind on documentation. I still have a hard time getting LLMs to implement Tailwind 4 libraries, and it's because they're so behind. You know, Tailwind 4 is a relatively new approach to Tailwind. It's still trying to spin up things in Tailwind 3. So I need to tell it to use Tailwind 4. I need to tell it, these are the libraries I'm using. I need to tell it where the documentation, you get the documentation from. And there's an MCP called Context 7, which you can get the most up-to-date documentation for these libraries on there. So you can just sort of bypass it using its internal knowledge. And then all this to say, this idea of context engineering is becoming the way to AI code, not vibe. It's a nice blend between vibe coding and AI assisted coding, but you're writing less code. And you explained things beautifully last week where you said we're becoming the co-pilots, and we're almost guiding the pilot, you know, and our agents are the pilot in this instance, and we're just guiding them and we're giving them all the information they need to be able to do what they need to do. And I actually played around with this idea of I want to share it, but not just yet because it's not completely complete. But I using AI completely built my personal website using AI. That's a terrible way to phrase it, but ultimately I did the research. I used Manus, and maybe I should make a video on this, but yeah. I used Manus to do research on me. So it went off to my various different YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn, did all this sort of stuff on my company, Jupiter in the Draft, did all this research and pulled together a wireframe and a plan for this website. And then I took that plan. I then built with context engineering, built like a CMS powered website with it. I think I've got a design that's looking pretty good, because then I use Stitch. Do you remember Stitch, Google's thing? I used that to design it as well. And it's been brought together completely with AI assisted development. And to bring it back to context engineering, the actual coding part of it was so much quicker. I spent hours on stream trying to learn Taskmaster and understand Taskmaster. And ultimately, I'll start to feel like, you know, it's better if I just have files here or there. I was doing context engineering without it being defined. A lot of people were doing this. I'm not saying I'm trailblazing here, but like a lot of people were doing context engineering without actually doing context engineering. So the fact that I did all of this in probably less than a day, counting up all the hours, there was a bit bumbling around and stuff like this, but the actual development was actually really straightforward. And I'm really, really enjoying context engineering. And to bring back to the comment that I said at the beginning, it would be interesting to see what my friend says. But I think a lot of development, the way we develop is completely shifting, and we should be writing less and less code. Really, we need to be just letting the LM worrying less about the code. Worrying less about the actual nitty gritty of the code, and just being more high level thinking, being more of a manager, being more of a shepherd, being more of a co-pilot to the AI. And I've seen success, and I want to make a video on it, on kind of context engineering in general and how I put together my website, but I've just got to launch the website first. Content as well, the actual content on the only thing that wasn't vibed, it was almost AI done, was my actual profile picture. I generated it, but it looked fine. I think the profile picture looked fine, but the quality of the image wasn't there. So I just snapped a photo on this camera and then did all that. But that's the only thing.
When you say you use the AI to do the research, did you like tell it where to go, or it just decided?
Yeah, I told it where to go on a few things. Like I just said, go out but I don't think I had to. I think I needed to give it more of a clue as to who I am. Like I couldn't say go out and research Sam Gregory, because there's a bunch of Samuel Gregory's out there, right? So I probably needed to give it, I knew I needed to give it a few little URLs here or there to kind of contextualize it. But I'll probably on the video go through the actual sources it looked at, but it'd be interesting to see if it did find a few little bits and bobs here or there. Actually, it did, because it found the Full Stack Agency, which is like an experiment I ran a few years ago. And it was like, that's crazy. That's brought in Full Stack Agency stuff. But like, yeah, that's, I needed to poke it a little bit to where to go.
Yeah.
But it'll be interesting to see what the result is, because again, it was just all done through AI.
Designs.
I mean, like, me, I'm not like, we've talked time and time again how we've said design is just not there, because it's derivative, right? So it's not going to be groundbreaking design. But as someone who like sort of has a little bit of taste, you can decide when he does or doesn't like a design. I think it's fine.
It's getting decent. It's not exciting design. It's not creative. I don't see many creative thinking from AI in any form or shape.
This will be the next kind of frontier that is like relevant to us when we talk about the TreeQuest kind of thing. It's about how they can work together to create something new. But you'll never, I'll rant for, give me 15 seconds maximum to rant. But the thing is about designers is that they want to be creative, they want to do this, but then they end up just copying whatever Apple's latest trend is anyway. Like they want this flexibility, but barely anything I see is original.
Apple, we see that what they do is not always, but very often is very creative, right? That
we should have put this in today's episode, by the way, the latest update for Liquid Ass.
Yeah,
but maybe we riff on it at the end.
Well, they are. I saw like a few tweets that Apple is dialing down.
They've basically backtracked. It basically looks like the previous version, because the liquid glass thing doesn't work from an accessibility standpoint.
Yeah,
but let's see. Anyway, so you guys copy liquid glass because of why?
We didn't copy it because
you always copy Apple. We
did it for just because of the views.
Yeah, the views.
That's how we decide quality. Will it get views or not?
Yeah, but the creativity of an LLM is yet to be seen, and you won't see anything crazy new. And maybe you don't want that, though. Do you really want that? Like, is that saving you a lot of time? Surely that's your outlet to be creative. You don't want it to be creative.
If it's not creative, if it's just outputs average, then it's meh.
Yeah, but but that's your opportunity to shine. Then that it puts in the boring stuff. It puts in the fundamentals of like layout and hierarchy and maybe
If
some
you
contrast.
can
And then
do
there's your
this,
point to be
yes.
like, right now I'm going to be the superhero. I'm going to waltz
Okay,
in,
so
fix this puppy. You know,
the issue is we don't have a lot of editability with LLMs when it's not, code or text. Like with images, we do have some sort of like editability, but we don't have that much of creative control, not yet. And when it comes to design, I would love, to draw something in Figma and then maybe have a style guide, and Figma AI could pick that up and create like a very clean, like a perfect design that is boring. Okay, I'm fine with that. And then me as a human with taste, I come in and add a little bit of like interest to it, so I can make it
vavavoom.
exciting. Just
Yeah,
a little bit of
yeah, yeah,
my own magic.
yeah. And that's
But
fair enough.
they are not there yet.
And you don't want to be writing prompts to say make this border radius fucking 12 pixels or whatever.
No,
You know.
that's what I've been saying for a long time. I think this chat UI it's something that we have for now, but it won't be forever. Like I don't think it's a good UI. I think we will create more software with like more control, with more UI where we can click things in the directions that we want. We will have a lot more UI, I think.
You and I need to come together, because I think what you're saying, like as a technical person, what you're saying doesn't make sense from an LLM standpoint. But I think I'm too technically minded to whatever. So I think we need someone who's perfectly in the middle to bridge those two worlds, because as a technical person, I just don't see, I don't know what you're asking. So what are you asking from this LLM? What are you asking from AI?
A lot of times when we talking about design, even if somebody is painting, you see a lot of times you correct yourself. Like you try something, you step back, you look at it, it doesn't look quite right, you paint over it. In Figma, you change things. You have like sliders. Like in Figma, you literally have invisible sliders. When you go to an input field, you drag it and then you see the corner radius, you feel it, right? You see it in the design, and if it feels right, it feels right. Same with colors. Like you put things together and you just vibe with it. You listen to music and you design. AI is just not there to help with like with chat. AI is not helpful, because I don't want to say, well, that corner radius does not feel right. Can you make it feel right? No.
What do you want to do though? What do you want to do?
I want to have UI. I want to have literal UI controls on the fly. So if I'm asking an LLM to create a component for me, it's a web component, imagine whatever that is. It's a shader, or if it's like a model, right? I want to have some UI control to change some properties. And there are like tons of libraries for that, like TwigPaint. I don't know if you know the library, or like the one for 3JS, it's called Theater.js, where even like when you're creating a 3D scene with code, it's difficult to go in the code and change, every time the camera position. So what you want to do is to bind that camera position to that UI, so you don't have to change it from the code. You just eyeball it by literally dragging the sliders around. Same for animation. Like we can mention the Webflow animation being out since yesterday. That's where like you have a timeline and you can see how long things are. And with just a chat interface, I get that with a chat interface, I get to a component really, really, really fast. But where it sucks is when I want to make small changes, because with small changes, then a chat interface is much slower. It's much slower for me as a human to interact with it. If we get neural link where I can like literally think of, talking to the LLM, then that won't be the case. Maybe the chat is, just the first step, and then the next step is having some sort of UI, and the next ultimate step is just to integrate all that in our neural link.
Let's move on, but get one of your fancy animators to literally animate and previs this whole thing, because what you're saying doesn't make sense. Anyway, I look forward to sharing this whole, this website with you. But this idea of context engineering is a real the missing piece, I think, personally, to this whole AI assisted coding thing that people need to scrub up on. Now, let's go to an ad break. And then we'll talk briefly about Webflow, because it's relevant to the ad, I guess, right?
Yeah. Support for this episode comes from Flowbase. If you are building in Webflow, Framer, or Figma, Flowbase can help you build much faster. With over 4,000 components to choose from, you have a huge variety of wireframes and super clean, nicely designed sections that you can put together by just simply copy-pasting them to your project.
Over 15,000 icons as well, over 1,000 illustrations.
They also have a super helpful Webflow app called Boosters. With Boosters, you can add things like sliders and marquees and count-ups to your project with a few clicks and without any coding. So yeah, big thanks to Flowbase for supporting the show. If you want to try them out, go head to flowbase.co.
And just for you guys, I want to share a discount. Command Flowbase, all capitals, for 20% off any plan. This is a limited offer, so get in there early.
All right, that's it. Let's continue with the show.
Cool. Thanks, Flowbase. 20% off.
Awesome.
So Webflow animation, they're rolling it out, right? Over the next month, they're going to be rolling it out. Have you got access?
I just checked. I don't have access.
Let me see if I can share something on the screen, because people.
Do you have access?
No, I might do, but let me have a look. But it's the thing we've been after for a long, long time, which is horizontal horizontal animation timeline thing. But it's very reminiscent of our old boy Pinegrow, which were their kind of OG GSAP. Sorry, I'm doing too many things at once right now. OG GSAP timeline editor, but I'm really excited.
Yeah, it's super cool. Like GSAP is the standard for animations right now, and you can very soon, like as you said, they are rolling out, create like much like easier, and like you can create more complex animations much easier.
Indeed. Right, I've got to,
especially when it comes to animating text. Like previously in Webflow, it was really difficult to animate text. I mean, it was easy, but it was time consuming because you had to animate each letter, letter by letter, and you had to each in a span. If you didn't want to code, you had to do a bunch of like manual work. But right now you can just use the GSAP text split, which all is included for free. And I think it's going to help us create like much more like also better performing websites with a lot more animations, very customized, and also accessible, because Webflow is actually going to tackle accessibility as well with GSAP. I think they talked about the reduced motion.
Oh yeah, because I think that's the thing built into GSAP. Have you seen the UI? I'm just loading it up now, but
the UI
Webflow just keeps crashing. Literally, I'm on a crash loop. Yeah,
I can share my screen because I have it on the screen. So
yeah, no, I don't have interactions just yet, unfortunately.
Okay, we'll just check it from the YouTube. All right, so this is how the panel is going to look like. You might want to reload because you might have it. So what we have here is this interaction icon. Then we have our canvas, and then on the right side we have the controls, and in the bottom we have the timeline where we see different elements being animated, like different animations. So we see here a text animation with stagger, as you see. We have a preloader, we have logo move up, and if we play this is a YouTube video, you see how this works. So you can literally drag things and play the animations, and you see how nice it is. You see how the text here, you see how it is animated like word by word.
Yeah.
You saw this? So previously you couldn't do this without code and just in one go. Now you can do it in just literally one go. Here on the right, if we look at this closely, we have the target, we have the trigger, but also the target. The target is like, are we targeting a class or an attribute or an ID? You know, a bunch of like different targets that we previously didn't have access to. And then here you have the properties that you can animate. So you have a bunch of like from height to size and, you know, to transforms, but also class. So you can actually toggle, add or remove a class.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I'm looking for something that allows you to change HTML values or attributes, because this is the thing that my video that got big a while ago was talking about how the interactions panel is not accessible. If you're going to animate something in like a pop-up or something like that, you need to change values to let a accessibility user know that they've just opened a modal and that the menu is open and that there's a drop down and things like that. So although we can't see it from the video or whatever, that's what I'm keen to see. That's what I'm wanting to see. So
yeah.
But overall, you know, some of these examples look pretty cool. They released 3 examples, didn't they? From some people who've had early access, and they've done a few nice things. But it's you know, you expect nothing less, really, do you?
Yeah, this is really cool. Yeah, I think it's going. Yeah, I think it's going to change the game again, especially comparing Webflow to Framer and a bunch of other tools. Now you can not only create like richer animations, but also like easier. Like I really want to emphasize on this point. There are a bunch of pre-made animations, and you have an animation kind of like library system where you can just make an animation, let's say for text, and then you can apply this to other things. And that is really, really cool. Yeah. And it just works. You don't have to worry about, you know, like previously you had to match the class, like a bunch of things. Now you can just have like one class and then say whatever children that exist within that class, stagger them, and it just works.
Yeah, because I'd hate to think how long the JavaScript library that Webflow used beforehand, how long they've been, how old that is, basically, whether it's still performant, whether it follows modern web standards and things like that. Whereas GSAP have always kept up to date with modern web standards and they know how it's done. Whereas, I'd hate to think what the amount of jank that has been left in Webflow with what do they call it, interactions 2, whatever it is, you know. So
IX2. So this, what you see here, we did this manually. Like I went in and took each letter and literally like turned it into a span and then animated that in individually. All of these are animated individually. Painful. Right now, I could probably make this with just two different animations. Yeah.
Just build the animation with a class, attach it to a class, and just apply it to those pieces of text, right?
Yeah. That's it.
That's it. Excellent. Do one thing for me on Twitter. See if you can join whatever it is that I'm broadcasting. Whether you can actually like join that.
Yeah, I'm watching our Twitter show live.
Can you join that as a under your account?
Yeah, I'm there with my account. I just said hi in the chat.
As in, like, does it show? Do you show up as like presenting or whatever it is? You know, when you can huddle and then it shows different people presenting and whatever. You can't do anything like that.
No, I don't see any option for it. Let me check notifications.
No, I mean, I haven't invited you or anything. I was just wondering if you can click a button and then that happens. But let us before pressing remove.
I know what you mean, but it's just
don't worry about it. It's all good.
And it says we have 20+ viewers, but
Lovely. Hello, viewers. Come over to us on Twitter, on YouTube, and give this new channel a subscribe because we need all the help we can get to build this new channel up. It's not on my channel anymore.
Oh, I see a fancy website.
Yeah, this is a lovely little website. This is a lovely little website.
Ooh,
so this
nice.
You might be saying bye-bye to Dia pretty soon if they can get their act together. So this is all scroll-based animations. I do like Perplexity's brand, to be honest. It's space, and I love space, and blah, 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 blah. So Perplexity have released a browser, and the interesting thing about this is that, to be honest, it doesn't offer much more than, say, Dia does. You've got the context. You can let's see if I've got a window over here. Perplexity's new AI browser. You can mention, we won't get into it there, but you can mention kind of other windows and get it to, as you've been doing with your little EU thing. But the big feature here is it's got the auto agent mode, which see this here. And if we scroll over here, I think that might be his mouse actually, but he does get to work. Here we go. There's this green glow that happens around the window. Now, this is the agent actually navigating and clicking around and doing things on the website and actioning whatever it is that you need to action, which is what Dia promised, but they haven't released it yet. So this is really, really quite cool, and I'm quite excited about this. There are still some bugs, as you know, if you go to Matthew Berman's video here, it does kind of get a little bit confused about like what it's meant to do. Sometimes it actions things, sometimes it doesn't. So it's very much, I don't know whether it's officially in beta, but he struggles to kind of get this actual blue box kind of appearing around. So yeah, it's what we hope and dream, and it's called Comet, and it's pretty gosh darn cool. It can do a bunch of stuff. Prepare and locate the tweet. I want to show you something that's a bit of an annoying thing that it does. Here we go. So my Comet agent posted this tweet, and then it added on the end this created with Comet Assistant, which is really friggin' annoying. Like, why have they done that? Especially when you come to learn who has access to this thing. Where is it? Perplexity Comet. Where are we? I want to show the pricing. Have you seen the pricing?
No, this is like my first time hearing about it, and I'm
okay. So yeah, I want to. Basically, it's $200 a month to have access to.
Wait, what?
I mean, you get Perplexity Pro, but it's like it's not just the browser, but you get access to this. I want to try and find the what do you call it? The actual pricing page, but it's $200 a month for this, and it's still kind of buggy.
We've been lied to. We'll get into this with Grok 4, but we've been lied to. We were told that AI will get cheaper, and it's just getting more and more expensive, and every freaking company is still like losing money on it while it's getting more expensive.
Yeah. Well, this is why I said low key, I think we'll be looking more and more to running LLMs on our local machine. And cheers for the love, whoever gave us some love on YouTube. Come say hello in the chat. I want to find, here we go. Here's Comet 3, I can't believe. Perplexity Max. So unfortunately, they really what do you call it? They abstract that away from you, don't they?
Yeah, but this is interesting, and I'm very interested in this browser, this new like era of browser
Yeah,
wars.
yeah,
Perplexity is known for being, they're not the most minimalist with design. They are, I would say, even like maximalist.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
They're
not
icons
in
to
a
my
bad
night.
way, not in a bad way, but they tend to maximize on the design, and like anything that they can do, they do with design. But Dia is very, like, it's much more minimal, and I actually really like it. But we'll see which one wins. And this agentic browsing, I think, is, it's really cool, and it might give it will be very interesting, because there was a moment where we thought, okay, what is going to happen to websites, because people are not going to browse, because chatbots will just browse in the background. But now we have AI browsers, and now chatbots are going to actually browse. So that would be interesting to see, and how they are going to use a website, because these will just control the cursor and click around. That would be interesting.
Yeah, it
And
will
I
be. I
guess
mean,
you can do stuff like on your web. Can you make these chatbots, do things like you add some type of meta information to your links and make them click those links and, I don't know, buy stuff? Probably not that
that'll
far,
be
but
next level. What would they call it? Not SEO. It'd be like AIO, agentic.
yeah,
No, agentic. Yeah, AI. Oh, I don't know. Whatever.
agentic optimization. I don't know. AI optimization, AI
Vera
search
Patel.
optimization.
Cheers for subscribing, Vera Patel. DS doing a lot of improvements. It really does. I think as a base browser, it's I'm just showing you the price here with access to Comet, but it's a very basic browser. I'm not that demanding. AOE, yes. As a basic browser, it's fine, but like, yeah, they're building in public, I think, and unfortunately, I think a key feature that I'm personally after Comet is answering the question. Interestingly, though, this is hot topic, right? I will find something and maybe I can show it to you. I can't. Sources, videos, no. Trying to think. Okay, I'll ruin the surprise. I've got Perplexity Pro. I pay for it, and it's got this thing called Perplexity Labs, and I sent it off on a bit of I sent it off on it's an agentic thing, kind of similar to Manus and things like that. And I was watching it do its thing, and I was watching it navigate around websites, clicking into websites. Now, this to me was Comet auto browse working under the hood of, I'm just trying to see where it was, under the hood of Perplexity Labs, which is a pro feature. So I think they've baked this in. They've just kind of like abstracted it from, do you know what I mean? Like it's they've just taken the technology and exposed it in a more way. I really would love to show whether there's some sort of recording. I've even just forgotten which task I asked it to do.
You want to share the screen, because like you're not right
I was just afraid that I might be showing something personal or whatever, but like I just can't find it. I mean, I've asked, basically I transcribed one of my own videos and I was like, I thought it might be under videos here, but it's just, it's just done that. But I was just trying to see, but I was watching it. Maybe we can just do it again. Let's edit this, see if it does its own. See if it redoes it, and we can see it working. But I guess the point is that you can kind of get sneaky access to Perplexity Comet just by using labs. It's just not as clear that it's actually doing it. And to be honest, I couldn't tell it to do something like, well, I actually haven't tried. I might try and tell it to do something specific, but yeah, so Perplexity Labs just takes too long just because it's an agent rather than a just a AI. But yeah, I'll leave that running, and we'll pop it up if I do notice that it's doing something, of note. But yeah, that was just something I noticed.
Yeah, and it's going to be really interesting, like not just to do browsing and finding information, but do things like most of the tools that we use nowadays are in a browser.
Mm-hmm.
Like, when will we get to a point that an AI and a browser, Dia or Comet, can do stuff? I don't know when, but that would be cool. Like, to ask them to do something in Webflow,
Mm-hmm.
just goes in and like clicks it around, done. I don't know, like an idea. Or what else? Like, it could be a Google Sheet. It could be using just Notion. You could theoretically, you could run your entire Notion just with voice commands,
Mm-hmm.
right? You go into Dia and you say, oh, let's go manage these projects and add these, I don't know, like these tasks, add a QA. And then when will it be when it can run a QA,
I
Open
mean,
up the website and be like, these are issues with it. So you need to solve them. Okay, go back and solve them.
yeah, these are great, but like I suppose I haven't really paid attention how much I am in the browser. I am in the browser a lot, but I can't help but feel like, as I said last time, I've got OBS, I've got Final Cut, I've got all of these applications that are not in the browser, and they would be kind of they're just, this is where Warm Wind, which you spoke about in the past, comes into play. Oh, we might be getting something on Perplexity here. We might be getting something on. I've just reran one of my things.
Yeah.
You see this?
Yeah.
This is a browser. I don't know whether you can see it. It's very here we go.
Yeah.
So it's gone onto our thing. And let me click on the more button. So it looks, see? This is exactly what I was talking about. So this is Comet under the hood.
Yeah, and it's kind of scary, man.
Let me click. So, and you saw something come up here. Maybe we can open that. Let's see what it's doing. Then maybe we can watch it do its thing. How crazy would that be? This is our YouTube channel, by the way, guys. Go and subscribe to it. Yeah, so we're not seeing some live stuff going on here, but yeah, this is it. It's opening stuff. It's opened this page. It's not just visiting. Let me click on the more button. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Task succeeded.
Are you using Dia or?
No, this is Zen. So this is nothing to do with the browser. This is
I know, but like, are you using Dia and are you hoping to like get?
I'm using Dia as my day-to-day browser. Yes, for our streams like this, I use Zen just because it has the full screen thing, so it looks a little bit nicer. But for my day-to-day, yeah, everything is open in Dia.
Yeah, Dia. I hope that they will add this as well, because they have the vertical tab now, but they don't let you close it completely and have this full-on experience, which I think they should, and they probably will add it. One thing that I started doing, opening my WhatsApp in Dia. I'm not using WhatsApp as an app anymore. I'm opening it in Dia because I'm I have two clients that communicate with me in German, and sometimes I just don't feel like texting in German, so I just write it in English, and Dia does it in German, and I just click insert.
Yeah, I need to. I you should make a video like top 5 ways I'm using Dia.
Yeah, I'm going to make one. I'm still transitioning. But yeah, Dia is becoming my daily, and I love it. It's just so clean. I tweeted I love Dia, and Josh also liked my tweet.
Oh my god!
Like first contact. Now our relationship is still healing because I still use Arc daily. I haven't given up completely. So,
yeah. So anyway, it's an interesting way we're using these stuff. I'm trying to share more and more how I'm using AI on a day-to-day basis that I think are a little bit outside the norm of how people are using it. But I'd love to see how you're using Dia, because I don't think I'm fully making the most of it, but I have found that I'm using it. I do something. I'm like, oh, why didn't I just reference that tab, or why don't I just ask Dia in here? Why am I going to ChatGPT even? You know, so
so WhatsApp with clients and emails are completely like 100% done in Dia for me right now, because I there is no point in me writing an email and just, you know, pasting my grammar into ChatGPT or whatever, and, you know, see if it, like, it's just, Dia is just there. And I'm just like, I don't even bother writing. I just click chat, automatically the context is there, and I just write grammar, and it knows it should check my grammar, the email that I'm sending off. I don't even, sometimes I don't type grammar completely. I just GMR and it knows. I'm getting so fucking
Are we
lazy.
getting dumber off AI? I think we
Yes.
bloody well are.
Well, about that, I'm spending the time, all those seconds that I would be, you know, pasting context between these AIs, I'm spending it learning about a bunch of other things. I'm just like barely surfacing philosophy, and this is interesting to see like how AI does there, because like AI, we haven't seen AI doing like being really great at math, but it's picking up. We'll talk about this in a second, about physics, because AI doesn't have access to the, you know, to the physical realm as we do, but that might change soon. And then the next, I believe, like the next big thing would be philosophy. If AI can do any sort of like meaningful philosophy, like thinking, which is, we'll see about that.
Yeah.
So
should we move on? Are you going to take the reins?
No, you can go. You can go with it. I think I don't know. So
let's go.
Right.
So Grok 4. If you've not been living under a rock, then you will not have known. Unless you've been living under a rock, you'll have known that Grok 4 has basically just blasted out onto the scene as the most intelligent model, and they have their own statistics to back that claim up. And this is the first time we've seen equal amounts spent on reinforced learning as pre-training. Now, reinforced learning is sort of like with verifiable rewards. It's basically saying we'll give you a reward if you get this right, which is quite funny. But Elon Musk during this live stream has said that has said that this is, if not better, PhD level thinking, if not better, with under exam conditions. Now, we've spoken in the past that, you know, whether writing what do you call it, essays and things like that are a valid way to justify someone's intelligence. We don't know, but it's PhD level and everything. And I think going back to what you were just saying, there is a graph somewhere or a chart somewhere which is humanity's last stand, and it got amazing. Here it is. See that little puzzle thing there? Here we go. So these are the different areas. See if I can zoom in there.
Yeah.
These are the scores it got. So it got 41% on math. It got 9% on physics. And these with humanity's last exam, which sounds so scary for some reason to me. Other models struggle to get double digits on these things, but I mean, look at math. It's like 41, 10% on artificial intelligence. Can this go away? Bugger it. Here you go. Chemistry, I don't know what other entails, but physics, you know. So this is something that is scored really, really well on. And it's just, it's scoring. We'll go to the benchmark that you shared. This one. Now, this was a 3-step reveal that old Elon Musk. This is actually number 2, which is with no tool calls, it got to 26%. I think this was already ahead of the other models. But then when it gave it access to tool calls, which apparently has been trained on tool calls, so it knows how to handle them, it then achieved a 41% in the scaling HLE tools. Then they revealed, which is what we spoke about earlier, the long horizon thinking. Here we go. They're still chatting. Here we go. Test time compute. Oh, you kidding? Come on. You stupid idiot. Jesus Christ, this is hard. Why is life hard, guys? Where were? Oh, they simulated a black hole as well. Two black holes colliding. This is basically what they got it to simulate, and this is like a HTML through JS render, which is quite cool. Here we go. Test time compute. This is when they gave it basically more time. And this to me is what was the, what do they call it? What do we call it? TreeQuest. They employed the TreeQuest here, where they had multiple agents running together, working together over longer periods. It was able to achieve 50. Now, remembering the 40% that it got down here was already ahead. So they were probably the first company when Sakana AI introduced this TreeQuest thing. They probably jumped right on that and implemented it and got it to kind of do the thing. I can't prove that. I don't know, but this is my hunch. This is just putting 2 and 2 together. So really, really, I mean, insane model. And live code bench has got a 79% as well, which is, it did some predictions on stats on who would win the World Series, things like that. Simulations on black holes. Where else have we got? Go away. Here we go. Here's humanity's last exam, which is a very, very, very hard exam to kind of. Is a some nice graphs and whatever. Scored 100% on the AME 25, which is insane. But yeah, just it's actually in real world usage. People are finding this is a very, very good model. Comes with a. Go on.
Yeah, I want you to also maybe show the artificial analysis.
You want artificial analysis?
I added it to Notion. Yeah, you can just search for it. Yeah, artificialanalysis.ai. The first one. Yeah. Here you see. Yeah. Exactly. So, it's just beating pretty much every other model at everything.
Yeah.
Except for speed and price, which
yes. Well, I've used it today already, and it's quite slow. But yeah. There is something to be said. There's a larger discussion here around intelligence and the democratization of intelligence. That's a whole other subject, I think, completely, because just to say something is intelligent doesn't mean to say that it's brilliant. However, we all have our own different applications of AI. I have development. There'll be mathematicians, there'll be physicists, and as you say, philosophers and things like that. But it's something to go by. And there's even word to say that they potentially optimize specifically for benchmarks, did the old Volkswagen thing. But yeah, mate, hopefully I didn't overwrite where I was in here, but we have a timeline on some releases as well. Let's talk about the price. So $300 a month gets you access to, oh no, sorry. This is the very expensive one.
The Grok Heavy.
So it's $30 a month for the normal one, or you can sign up to Jupyter Chat and you get it for much less than that. But which is what I just had on the screen now, it's $300 a month. They basically just gone all out. This is an interesting graph as well, how it just exists in its own little world. And this is the same test, by the way, that Sakana released or said about TreeQuest, and it giving that ultimate boost. It's the Arc AGI benchmark. But yeah, pricing is kind of crazy. 300. There we go. I can't really see because of the UI, but like $30 a month for Super Grok, and then Super Grok Heavy, which is the Grok 4 Heavy model, is $300 a month, and then the yearly price is $300 for the year, or $3,000 for the year for Super Grok Heavy. So it's a very, very pricey model. I think totally worth it if you're doing academic research, scientific things like that. Very much worth it. I'm going to be playing around with it. It's available in Cursor, so you can actually play with it in code, see how good it is for code. But if we look at the timelines, which are Oh, this was an interesting one. The vending bench. They created their own benchmark for like operating a vending machine, and O3 basically the net worth at the end of it. A human managed to get $844 at the end of it all. Claude Opus
What is the point
2000.
of this?
This is, I think it's stock management and pricing analysis and things like that. I think it's to do with how it sort of manipulates the how much stock it has and how much it's basically able to get at the end of it. And how much is able to sell, because you've got units sold here. Human was only able to sell 344 units. Claude Opus 1,412, and then Grok 4 got this. So it was their own little benchmark that they did, which is just quite funny, quite interesting.
Yeah.
Where is this timeline? For gaming as well. So they made this, someone made this vibe gamed this 3D game, which is really, really cool. Here we go. Here it is. And then this is the release cycle. So we've just hit this now, Grok 4 release. They're going to release a coding model in August, July, next month. Then a multimodal agent, and then a video generation model by October. So we've got a bit of a timeline to sort of wait. So, yeah, overall, very, very excited. Only has a 256 context window, 256,000 context window. And this is not the be all and end all. And if anything, it teaches you that we need to be more efficient with the models. Can't just chuck everything at it. That these million, because Gemini is a million, over a million. So, and it's also worth noting that a lot of these are self-reporting. The only one that was reported by someone else is the Arc AGI, which may be Sakana.
So to a little like correct on that, the artificial analysis is also they release the numbers.
Yeah.
So it's not like all self
I think at this point it was, but like, yeah, okay, fine.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you want to just
they gave artificial analysis pre-access, so that they can benchmark them. So yeah, it's pretty powerful. And also in one other benchmark, they are also really powerful. The snitch bench. If it will snitch on you, they got a perfect score, 100%. So if you do anything that it's illegal, or it thinks that it's illegal, it will try to contact the authorities and snitch you to them.
See, Elon Musk's close partnership with Trump is sort of paying off. But the interesting thing, the only thing to note about that is Theo's own personal benchmark, which is still an important benchmark. And there's something to be argued about whether the fact that you're telling it or you're giving it the parameters to snitch on might give it more of an idea. And there's an argument to say, well, maybe it's the only one that's telling you it's snitching. So there is that. But it's a very interesting benchmark to test. Just seems like you could just make your own benchmarks these days, vending bench, snitch bench, I did see on a video somewhere that they tried to get it to design some UI, and it was not, still not there from the UI perspective, unfortunately.
Apparently it's also not the best when it comes to code.
But then, so then we'll see the coding model then released next month. But all this to say, it's all very exciting. It's all very cool. All this to say, what's this? Is that
I wanted to show my screen.
Yeah. Don't know why I have to. Yeah, go on then. You can share.
Yeah, go on.
All this to say, Mecha Hitler. The day after Mecha Hitler, where
we need to talk about that. Yeah, we need to. So apparently, we need to think of these stories as complete. I'm trying to think of them as complete short videos. So the way we start them is by the talk about like the big
I get
thing.
it.
Yeah.
I get it.
So yeah, go on.
Well, just this comes a day after the Grok 3 was defined itself defined itself as Mecha Hitler. And whilst Elon Musk did get a bit hands-on with the excuse, he said it was the models. He was too eager to please and be manipulated. So it was manipulated into calling itself Mecha Hitler. it started to go a bit haywire just in general. I think it got a bit of a rabbit hole. I have not looked. I mean, I remember I woke up at like 3 a.m. this morning, and this is where I was like reading all of this and like learning about it and whatever. I haven't looked. Have you looked too much into the Mega Hitler?
I just saw
Saga?
some examples. So I saw some examples of Grok. You know, when you use it in Twitter, in X, people like tag
Yes.
Grok. Like
Yeah.
it's kind of annoying nowadays. You go to a tweet, and people are like, summarize, or what do you think? And Grok has been, referencing Hitler in those answers, and white supremacies, and like it went crazy. And this is again a day just before releasing their best and most powerful model, which is not a good look. But these AIs, as they said, they are trying to please you, and I don't know. I don't know what that means.
OpenAI had a similar problem a few weeks ago, didn't it? But I mean, the launch of Grok 4 was delayed, and I can't help but think this is something to do with it.
Yeah.
Because they released this at midnight. They released this past midnight, maybe. Yesterday. I don't know, time zones and whatever.
From their slides, you see that it's not done by it looks like they don't have a design team. It looks like it's just a bunch of engineers working in these warehouses. And this is like what I've seen. I've seen pictures of, I don't know, have you seen like pictures of XAI? Like the engineers, they sleep in tents. In that
sounds like a place that Elon Musk runs.
Yeah, they sleep in tents in those like mega, I don't know, like warehouses where they have generators and just hundreds of thousands of GPUs to run and train these models. Well.
Yeah, so haven't they ordered like over 1 million offshore GPUs to run XAI? Like, are they just putting, which is crazy? Yeah, absolutely.
Honestly, yeah, this is so crazy because again, we all thought Grok was there just to mess with some altman. Well, not just, but it started as like, yeah, you have close AI instead of like open AI. He was making fun of him. Well, we have now XAI, and we are going to compete, and now they are actually like for real competing.
Yeah,
which is unbelievable. And I'm very interested to see how this works out with Tesla and the vision and self-driving and things like this, because Elon has been talking about this very openly, that he wants to give like reality access, like physical access to these AI models so they can learn further, because this is how we learn. We have access to the physical world. We learn by just touching grass, and these AIs can't do that yet.
They can't touch grass.
They can't touch grass. That's the humanity's last example.
Yeah, for sure.
Can you touch grass?
Yeah.
How does it feel to touch grass? If you don't know, you're probably an AI.
I'm still trying to figure out how to phrase this, but ultimately the only analogy I can give is that physics defines a set of rules that we live in, and we act accordingly because of the rules of physics. I think AI is yet to really show or really prove how it fits into the world. And when it finally does, I think it will be as if we've entered another dimension where the rules of physics are different. Like, I think we'll prioritize different things, we'll value different things, we'll act differently. Like, again, intelligence just might be so democratized that who the shit cares if you know this and this and this, because I can just go on my phone right now and get you the same answer and probably write an article about it, whatever.
I mean, the same was said about calculators, right? That you won't have a calculator with you all the time. Teachers used to say that. Now you have a calculator like literally everywhere, like your Mac, what's it called? Like the shortcut, the command space.
I don't know. I carry an iPad around with me everywhere.
Yeah. Well, you have a calculator in the search box there. When you say, so you have a calculator literally everywhere. But if it's going to be the same with AI, we yet to find out. When it comes to physics and discovering like actual like new scientific like discoveries. Elon Musk made prediction that Grok will do this by the end of the year, and if not, very like he'd be shocked if Grok won't do this by the end of like next year, like new discoveries in physics. I believe that's what he meant, and why it's important for these models to have the access to the physical world is because they can do experiments. They can run experiments and have this kind of like feedback. Right now, they're just like in an echo chamber. They just talk to themselves in a way. They don't have any feedback. One last thing that I want to show, and I know you talked about it, is let's talk about this. So there is Arc AGI, another benchmark to measure these LLMs to see how smart an actual AI is compared to a real human. And these tests in the first look, they are very simple. They are very simple for a human to solve them, but apparently very difficult for AI models. So if you look at this, do you get it? Like, probably takes you less than a minute to get it.
Yeah.
It's so if it doesn't any holes here, it's
I
yellow,
don't know what's with the bottom left one, why that's disappeared. But other than that, I get it. No holes yellow, 3 holes red, 2 holes blue.
Yeah, so here if it has holes, it's green. If it doesn't have holes, it's red. And here we have 2, 3, and 2, 4, and 6 holes. Yeah, it's simple to us, but from what I understand, this requires AIs to do a lot of thinking, and it kind of like stacks. And we've seen this also with the Apple paper. When the AIs run towards the end of their context, they get like very dumb and they can't solve anything. And that's my guess. I don't know, but I think this type of test makes it very difficult for AI to run these like procedural thinking. But we kind of don't do this in a procedural way. We do it in kind of in chunks. You see this as a whole, and then you kind of like chunk it down, and you find these patterns. But apparently for AI, these are very difficult. So what's really interesting is that other models are getting, I think, between 1 to 8%, while humans get 90+%. And Grok is getting what I think 15 or 16%, which is doubling any other model. That is a huge step. It is a huge step, but still it's kind of 16%, while an average human can get 100. And it's going to be also interesting to see what if AI can hit 100%. I can imagine AI being able to do that next year. And what happens if we still find out AIs are not the real AGI? They are not truly that super smart being. So will we have other type of tests? Because the moment there is this saying that the moment you have a test or benchmark, that moment that test is obsolete. It hasn't been true about this, because apparently AI models cannot really learn from this, or it's not in their data set. I don't know how that works. I would be interested to know, how does that work? How is that the data, how can they be sure that the data for this is not in the learning material for the AI?
Yeah, really interesting. I get again, like to bring it back to what I was saying just now, it's like it all comes back to why is this important, and inevitably what does it enable us to do? And I think we're yet to see. We just, again, I feel like we're still just throwing shit at the wall and see what sticks. But who am I? Again, I'm not a $100 million employee. But I just wonder, like, what's the importance, and where is this going? Like, what's the why should an AI understand patterns, and why does that mean it's intelligent? Why does it mean it's whatever? But yeah.
So here we see the numbers. Like a human gets 98% in
go humanity,
And in Arc AGI 2, humans get 100%. Like what? Interesting. But Grok gets 16%.
Yeah. Cool.
And Claude is, at 8%, with O3 high being at 6.5. Crazy. Long way to get to the human level. Maybe 6 months.
Very
Who
cool.
knows? Who knows?
Very cool. Well, that wraps up the week's news. Welcome to the new channel. If you're over on Twitter, please come and subscribe to Command AI over on YouTube. Very much value your feedback. If you enjoyed the episode, of course. If you don't, give us a thumbs down. Every bit of engagement is good for us. But
even a thumbs down.
Give it a thumbs down. Why not? Just give it no, actually don't. Just give it a thumbs up. The actual is what we've done from the UI perspective, we've actually flipped the two buttons. The thumbs up button is actually thumbs down. So if you really hate it, just
hit the thumbs down twice. If you really
hate us, if you really hated this episode, hit the thumbs down button twice. And so cheers for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next one.
Yeah,
should basically keep on vibing. Woo!